Hey everyone, it's Hammer Time with Nikki and Kate. I'm Kate Itassi.
And I'm Nikki Marchessault.
And we'd like to welcome you to our third podcast episode. This one's going to be about exercise, and we call it Exercise for All, workouts for moms with postpartum, Pooches, bedridden diabetics, and anyone else with a few spare minutes a day. So for all of you returning listeners, welcome back. And for all of you newbies, welcome. We are going to be talking about our experiences as being former athletes, and Nikki as her education and experience being a personal trainer.
And a mom.
And I'll be talking a little bit about my life with diabetes and about how I've had to modify both my fitness as well as my nutrition regimen now that I've become disabled. And just chat a little bit about how you can fit exercise into whatever kind of day, whatever kind of life you have, and to do it, make sure that you're doing it to not only better yourself. You know, everyone can try and make a better physical representation of who they are, but really have fun with it. I think even if you hate most exercise, you could still find some sort of physical activity that is fun for you.
Right, and you could just get out there and move.
Absolutely.
And you do not have to feel like your exercise program has to be extremely rigid.
Right.
Which I had to learn, especially after, thinking that everything should be, you have to do 12 hours a day as hard as you can. So, just do what you can to fit into your life.
Or a certain number of exercises, or it has to be painful or else.
Right.
And getting on that point of pain, just a disclaimer, and we don't normally do disclaimers. We usually keep it pretty light, but I feel as an attorney and Nikki as being a personal trainer that we just wanted to make sure that you all know that before you do any kind of exercise that you consult with your healthcare professional. For me, for instance, I would need to know how certain types of exercise are going to affect my blood sugars, or whether I should eat a certain type of food before I do an activity, or whether I should change my pump settings, or whatever it is. Some of us out there who have done sports before have repetitive stress injuries, so you need to maybe modify your workout. So whatever your case is, even if you're perfectly healthy, you should still consult with a healthcare professional before you do any kind of exercise.
Absolutely.
So
it's very important.
Make sure that you do that. And by all means, don't implement anything that you hear on this program thinking that because we've done it that you should do it, because
that is not true.
That is certainly not true. All right, so we're going to start off the show by jamming out to a little Big Sean, sampling a little MC Hammer, and let's get down with the get down. Once it starts playing. All right. So
there you have it.
There you have it. Go silly. So, and before we start off, I just wanted to kind of pat ourselves on the back a little bit of a humble brag by saying that we are now also available on iTunes and Google Play. So if you wanted to, listen to us while you're doing some sort of exercise or jamming out in your car,
or doing laundry,
hanging out with the kids, I promise. This is Kate speaking. I will try not to swear as much like a trucker as I did last episode.
Last episode was pretty intense.
It was. So my apologies, kiddos. But it does have an explicit warning
so that's good.
On our podcast. So if you're so inclined, you can not only find us on Facebook and Tumblr and Google Plus and YouTube and our website, But also,
And we did a Facebook Live.
yes, last episode.
Last
And
episode.
Thanks for everyone who tuned in. We won't subject you to our awesome dance moves every episode, but we will from time to time, especially
Our appearance right now.
yeah.
Because I have boogers on my shirt.
And Auntie Cake has an adult headache from sipping too much adult juice last night. So we're not in the best physical forms ourselves right now.
No, we are not.
But we are going to muscle through and talk to everyone about fitness and exercise and nutrition.
So here we go.
So here we go. So yeah, for anyone who doesn't know us personally or know much about our backstories, we were both athletes in a former life. We actually met competing against each other in Rhode Island track and field, and we both did the hammer and the shot, the discus, and the 20-pound weight. And then we went on to do the hammer and the weight in college and did some Olympic training in the event. So we had a good 8 years where we were very intensely training for the sport. And we did a lot of Olympic lifting. We did a lot of plyometrics. We did box jumps. We did running some stairs, some sprints, I did some sled runs towards the end of my career, so we did a lot of different exercise. And so I think we both developed a love for exercise and fitness, and definitely Nikki carried that on afterwards.
Right. I carried it into my school. So
Right.
that's my degree.
And your profession, yeah.
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 I am a personal trainer, and I studied kinesiology, which is the study of muscle movement, and have a master's in health promotion. So yes, I really grabbed on to health and fitness as my
And I think
life, pretty much.
Yeah, I think it kind of comes easily. A lot of our friends and fellow competitors, I think, went into that field just because you do have to learn so much about it when you're making it all about your life for so many years. You have to be passionate about it, or it can be real rough going.
Absolutely.
So I definitely have a lot of. I definitely admire everyone in the field. I wanted to do nutrition. I don't know if you knew this, Nick.
Yes, I remember. Yep.
Yeah, I wanted to do nutrition going to Penn State, but then I realized how many science courses were involved, and I said, no.
Law it is.
Law it is. Social sciences, here I come.
But
None of those hard science.
Yeah, the law needed you.
Oh,
and
thanks,
needs you.
sis.
So
Thanks, Sissa.
I think that's
So
great.
yeah, so I just wanted to talk a little bit, if I may, about my experience with nutrition and with exercise being a diabetic. So obviously, for anyone out there who either has diabetes or has a loved one with the disease, I have the juvenile kind, which just means that my pancreas does not produce any insulin. It means that I have to get it from another source, so I have an insulin pump. And I've had that for the last 30 years, actually 30 years next month.
Wow.
So happy anniversary to me. But
Your pump.
yeah, me and my pump. But it's been a hard go, but I think it was a lot easier for me initially because my mom is a registered nurse and made sure that I went to Joslin Diabetes Center, which is one of the best facilities out there. I went to, now don't make fun of me, but I went to a diabetic camp for, I think, 7 or 8 years.
I think that was probably a great idea because you are at a very young age. You're put in a situation where you have to know what to eat, what your body can handle, and that's very hard for a young
for someone who's 4
child
and
young woman. And so that's, it sounds funny, a diabetic, but at least,
It was awesome. I will tell you.
Sounds cool. I don't know.
I went for training when I worked in the Federal Public Defender's Office. I went to, they call it Baby Defender, and it's this schooling for all new federal public defender employees, and you go and you meet everyone else who's just started, and so you get put in a group with other people, your colleagues, your peers. And so I was chatting up a few of my other fellow baby defenders, and I kept telling them these awesome stories from diabetes camp, and they started.
I wish I could have went to diabetes camp.
You know what? They started mocking me like American Pie. This one time at band camp.
Oh,
yeah,
that's silly.
It was awesome, and I am not ashamed.
And so it must have taught you about.
Oh, it was great. You were at a camp. It was a 2-week stay away camp. So you were living in cabins with other kids your age who also were type 1 diabetics. So you worked out together. You did different activities. You had it's going to sound really weird, but like you did your blood sugars together.
Well, that's hard as a child. Like you think now you're like, oh, it's easy for me to check my blood sugar. But if you think about it, what does a little child have to do? Or like a little, you're in high school even or whatever. You have to, you have to prick your
nose. You have to prick your finger.
Right.
And 4 to 6 times a day. And then if you go low, like the kids in my elementary school used to volunteer to push me in the wheelchair to the nurse's office when my blood sugar went low, so they could get out of class. Some of them were being nice, but most were to get out of class and push a wheelchair.
Right.
Who doesn't want to do that when, when you're in elementary school?
Right.
But it's a different lifestyle, and you just have to get accustomed to it.
And did they help you with your diet? I remember you talked about that. So did it help you what to eat?
Yeah. So and
that's really important for you, right?
At camp, I definitely inherited my grandfather's sweet tooth, and so to know that I couldn't even eat like a bite-sized Snickers bar until I had done an entire soccer game,
which must have been really hard for a child.
It was rough.
I would have like 12 little Snicker bars.
I will tell you, my mom would make me pick out my 10 most wanted pieces of Halloween candy and then give the rest to my brother.
Oh, no.
It was rough going. I'm still bitter. 30 years later, I'm still bitter about that Halloween candy. And then you have to understand that if you eat too many pieces of sugar-free candy, then there's going to be a rumbling in that tummy.
Oh, right. I didn't think about that.
Because of the artificial sweeteners.
Yes.
So, yeah, it was a whole... But you know what? I'm glad that I got it when I did. If I had to get it, I'm glad I got it that young because I don't remember it being any different.
Oh,
so
right. Okay.
Even though my poor mother had to chase me around the house in order to prick my finger
right.
when I was first diagnosed, it wasn't as hard of an adjustment as if I was a teenager and who wants to, be the weird kid who's drawing blood in the cafeteria, trying to act cool in front of all their friends and needing to go to the school nurse. You know what I mean? Like, for me, that was just a part of my life.
Right.
So I didn't know any different. So it was just the way it had to be. But it taught me a lot about nutrition and exercise and the importance of carbohydrates and protein and vegetables. And so while I resented at Clara Barton camp having to eat raw broccoli in the morning, first thing in the morning, I thought that was a bit of an overzealous nutritionist at work that summer. But I now love vegetables.
Right.
But so it really... And I learned about carb counting far before, Atkins was the latest fad. And so I had to learn how certain foods affect my diabetes more than others. So, up until high school, actually, they thought that sweets were just off limits. But then when I got to be in high school, they kind of realized that, like, a carb is a carb. Sometimes, I don't want to get too into it, but, simple carbs, complex carbs. Basically, in essence, a carb is a carb. So if you eat 15 grams worth of carbs in a piece of bread or in an Oreo, it's pretty much going to do the same thing to your blood sugar. So you just have to be aware of how many carbohydrates you're consuming. So now that you have the pump, too... which is so much better than carrying around a bunch of needles all the time. You have a lot more freedom in what a diabetic can eat, but there are still certain things like pizza will always make my blood sugar spike higher, no matter how many carbs there are in it. Peanut butter, a lot of things with like a lot of fat in them will make it spike. And strangely enough, there used to be, I know and every person's body is different, and that goes back to us saying the disclaimer at the beginning. Like, you have to talk to your healthcare professional because something might be particular to your genetic makeup, your body, your metabolism, injuries, whatever it is that's going to affect you differently than it's going to affect maybe 99% of the rest of the people. But for me, there was this ice cream shop in Warwick near my great-grandparents' house called Jenny's Ice Cream. And it was more of like an ice milk instead of ice cream. And every time I would have it, I would actually go low. Where you would think that eating ice cream, your blood sugar is going to spike. It actually made me go low. So
just weird stuff like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and then certain exercise affects me differently. There's aerobic exercise and anaerobic. So when we did weightlifting, that was pretty anaerobic because it's not really getting your heart rate going that high. Yoga is basically, I love yoga and I've been doing it since high school, but it's essentially deep stretching. So unless you're doing high intensity yoga,
like power yoga, that's what I've done in the past,
then it really doesn't do much to my blood sugar. But swimming and walking, even if I'm walking at a very slow pace, swimming and walking will really get my blood sugar down. So my experience living with the disease pretty much my whole life as far as I can remember, really certainly got me interested in nutrition and fitness.
Right. And you really probably had to change it up at being first a student athlete. And then, as you said, you kind of slowed down then you were in law school. So that's kind of totally different. It's not like you're doing a bunch of, a lot of powerlifting.
Right.
And so you have to figure out now what exercise is going to work for your body and what to eat, like what's going to be the best for you to eat.
Oh, yeah.
Especially if you're working out a lot more, maybe you could have a couple extra, well, for you, it really wouldn't be cupcakes. You don't want to have cupcakes at all, but you know what I'm trying to say.
Exactly. So, and it's the same general idea.
And now you have to figure out what exercises you can do and what you can eat, because now you can't really exercise that much due to the disability.
Right. So
you really went through a short amount of time. You went through a lot of different life experiences, and you really had to, not only do you have the diabetes, but you have to figure out, just as a normal person, like how to exercise, how to eat in these different situations.
Right.
First an athlete, then, just a student, and then not just a student, but a student. And then, then you're a professional. Right. And now you're, poor thing, now you're disabled. So where do you go? So it's really great to hear your experience as a type 1 diabetic. You don't really hear, about it. And the other thing is too, you were able to be have type 1 diabetes and also, compete, which is another story in itself, and another, we touched on it, I think on our first podcast a little bit.
Yeah.
Or maybe,
and I talk about it a little in my book.
In your book? Yeah, that's what it was. Yep.
Yeah. But I really, I really did myself a disservice and kept my blood sugars higher than they should have been.
Probably.
Because I knew that the feeling of being low, which really is, I equate to being drunk, to feeling drunk at least. And I have personal experience last night with it. No, actually, thinking about it, you also have to think about how alcohol affects your diabetes as well.
Right.
But I kept it purposefully high because when you're competing, I mean, shoot, you have to act like you're the baddest MFer out there.
Yeah, you have to be really relaxed. I think that's the biggest.
But you can't feel weak because, especially in our event, we really had to be, make our best, most powerful effort each and every time.
Short amount of time.
Right. So if my blood sugar went low and I'm feeling all weak and shaky and, I'm clammy and...
It's not good.
Yeah. Then by the time my blood sugar kind of stabilizes again, the meet's going to be over.
Right.
And so So I just kept it high, which I'm paying for now and have been paying for a number of years. But I really, I did myself a disservice in order to be at the top of my athletic game.
And I think we can all kind of do that. Even someone with, just pushing too hard. Pushing too hard and you get an injury. When being deployed, I just pushed a little too hard. Yeah. And that's, and then I got a back injury.
Right. And then I think the both of us just,
so now we just
competing, we athletes get a ton of repetitive stress injuries.
Oh, yes.
So,
yes.
The amount of injuries that.
Right. Knees, elbows.
Oh, man. Rotator
head,
cuff,
shoulders.
bicep, head, shoulders, knees, and toes.
We were doing that song today. Sorry.
Oh, me and you? No. You and the kids.
Yeah, me and the kids. Okay. And us.
But yeah, you really. I think everyone wants to try and see what they can push themselves to and what they can accomplish, and not let physical limitations get the better of them. But kind of you have to, it's more about that self-care and self-love that we were talking about as well, that you have to care about yourself and care about your health and your well-being, because if you push yourself too hard, too fast, too often, then it's really not healthy, and you're gonna be paying for it in one way or another.
Right, and you always have to reevaluate, and that's what we were talking about.
Exactly.
With each situation, it depends on they talk about which season you're in. So we talked about Kate's seasons of the being an athlete, being a student, being a professional, now her current situation.
Right. And I think even with age, bodies don't bounce back like they used to.
Right.
And for someone like so many women, cis,
Well, that's what what we'll get into now. So my situation, similar without the diabetes. So I was a athlete, and then, a student athlete, and then just a student, and then a professional. But my profession was being a personal trainer. So as a personal trainer, you're on your feet, you're moving with your clients. So that's hard on your body. And then going into the military, and I was a firefighter, so that's another toll you have on your body. And you have to figure out what is the best nutrition plan for you and what is the best exercise for you. So what would you, and then after the military, and then there was the injury. So now I have an injury. How do I, come back or get out of, I had to get out of the military due to the injury.
Right.
Then after that, there was children. So I had 2 big babies, and I am not, I don't know, I didn't study a lot about women, like mothers who had children.
Sure.
So
I mean, why would you in general, right?
Right, because I didn't train a lot of moms when I was personal training. And then going into firefighting, we just is a lot of males. Right. So not many women there to even maybe train. So after having the babies, this is the point I'm at now. I'm like, okay, so what do? I was like, I just go right into working out how I usually work out, right? And so I did that after the 2 babies. I just, I'm like, okay, I'm starting to feel better. Both pregnancies, I felt terrible. I was very sick. And so I never worked out. And my nutrition was like Taco Bell. Like hopefully, like I can eat Taco Bell without throwing up. Or I had to, with my second pregnancy, I had to have a lot of, I actually drank a lot of like protein drinks that were like safe for, your baby, because I couldn't eat anything because I was so nauseous.
Man,
and
you were nauseous all the time.
Oh yeah. And through the whole pregnancy,
Yeah.
everyone's like, oh, the first 3 months. I was like, no, like the whole time. Like when the baby came out, it's when I felt better. And then I was nursing. So now you're nursing, you're like, oh, I'm going to get so skinny because I'm nursing. And there's just, and you kind of do. And then you
Well, it
have,
exerts a lot of energy, right? Like, don't you, it expends a lot of calories.
yep, it extends a lot of calories. Yep. And then, but
you're,
you
like,
also,
dead tired, no sleep.
right? And you also have to make sure you're eating the right things, because you cannot, because a lot of that goes into the baby's bloodstream. So, for instance, caffeine, you want to stay away from, alcohol, of course. And so you have to think of all those things. So the good thing is I am a professional. This is my profession. So I'm like, oh, I will be fine with this. And then, as I said, this is the where I am now. My current situation is, now I'm like, oh, I have, and that's what the title we're talking about, the mom pooch. And I'm like, oh, this is going to be fine. I'll be fine. It's going to go down, hopefully. And I'm like, oh, this doesn't seem right. So I have been diagnosed with
Diastasis.
Diastasis recti. Boom, 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 boom. I finally said the word. So it's an abdominal separation. And it is, it does require a medical diagnosis. So you want to go to your doctor to ask them, and they can do it, they can give you the test. So a little bit, this is a lot to take in. So if you want more information, you can always Google, but I have found that it's girls. It's Girls Gone Strong, but I follow the program. It's Moms Gone Strong. But the girlsgonestrong.com, that is a site where they have a lot of information about the abdominal separation, how to test for it. And basically, your abdominals separate, which sounds awesome. And so it causes a space. So, for instance, I could stick 1.5 fingers in my belly button, which you're not supposed to really do. But I didn't know that. I'm just
kids don't try this at home.
Kids don't try this at home. So I thought I was just fat. I said, oh, it's just fat. It's just not going to go away. And I didn't realize you have to do exercises. So now, currently, I'm doing this program from Moms Gone Strong. And, so me, as a former athlete and a current personal trainer, I want to go back to CrossFit. I want to go back to powerlifting, Olympic lifting. That's what I want in my head. And I want to spend, 3 hours a day on that. Well, I am a, mother of 2 toddlers with an abdominal separation.
Right.
So that's not going to happen. So I had to come to the realization that, well, first I need to fix my problem, which I was ignoring at first, because I was like, oh, it will go away on its own. And I'm strong, and I'm coming from a strong place. I thought it would just go away.
And you thinking your problem, quote unquote, is the belly, right? Like
the
this
belly.
Pooch that you're.
The main problem is the abdominal separation. I don't really mind the pooch. It's the fact that my abs do not go together. So that's what really bothers me. And like you said, that then in turn that causes a pooch that never goes away, basically.
Okay. So this was completely a matter of ignorance for me. And again, like both of us being athletes, like I was into fitness and understanding about the human body to the extent that I didn't need to go to anatomy class because I wasn't into those sciences. But I was kind of ignorant as to this even existing. So
was I.
Yeah, until you told me about it, I was like, whoa, what? Dia what?
Right. I'm still like, Dia what? It's really a hard word to say. So don't you worry. I'm like, Dia what?
Just call it postpartum pooch.
Yeah, postpartum pooch is a great one.
No, I mean, I think you are... Look, I think the both of us are really hard on our respective selves.
Right.
So I apologize, but like I was just thinking like, oh, come on, sis. Like you've got a great body anyways. You're a personal trainer. You've always been great with physical fitness. Being an athlete, we were always, especially being throwers, we always focused a lot on our abs and core strength.
Yes.
So I was like, ugh, she's just being way too hard on herself.
Right.
Okay, so she gave birth. She had a C-section. Like, okay, like you're not going to have like rock hard abs anymore. You're just, being a little too hard on yourself. But here is this thing that I'm sure a lot of moms don't even know they have.
No.
And so now you've found a program that actually focuses specifically on this issue.
Right. And there is more, and I've learned about this. Yes, there's this program, Mom's Gone Strong. But it's also well, I don't want to say you should, but it's suggested that they have physical therapists for the situation.
Okay.
And it's, there's more to the abdominal separation. There's also pelvic floor. I forget what it's just your pelvic floor is weak. Okay. So your whole private area is down there. It gets a little weak. You kind of pee sometimes.
That's what happens when a large being comes out of that small of an area.
Right. So a lot of women think this is normal. Like, oh, I just pee my pants because I had, like, huge babies. But it's not. You have to, seek professional help.
Right.
And they do have they have physical therapists out there that actually focus on after having children, what kind of happens to your private areas.
Yeah.
So that's another thing to do. I have talked to a physical therapist about it, and I do not, I guess, pee myself as
TMI.
Others do.
Well, right, so and each woman's experience is going to be different, I would imagine.
Right. So right now I have an appointment with a gynecologist. Mm-hmm. They are helpful with this. I don't want to call it. Well, it's a problem. It's an issue.
Sure.
It's an issue.
Yeah.
So, but I have just this month I started the Mom's Gone Strong because I have not seen a difference in that abdominal space. Mm-hmm. And I know I need to fix it or make it stronger or, technically you can't, it doesn't go all the way back together. There's so much on this topic.
Sure, yeah. And I'm sure anyone who wants to learn more about it can go to that girlsgonestrong.com and we'll also post that link on the blog.
Yep, they can go there. And there's other places. This is just so happens this is what I found to be helpful for me. But there's so many other things like resources and information out there.
Yeah, and I'm sure it's got to be frustrating and disheartening, especially you've just given birth, you've done this, one of the miracles of life, right? And then you get little sleep and you can't focus as much on your nutrition a lot because you're taking care of your kids, and especially whatever the particular person's home life situation is. I'm sure some of it's more difficult and more stressful than others, but to then turn around and see changes in your body that you are so foreign to you and are not responding as well to fitness and nutrition.
Right. And it comes with anything. As you said, it's even age.
Yeah.
So you could have children. You could just be, reaching 35 and you're like, oh, things aren't as tight as they used to be, like everywhere. Like down there.
Right. And this is not just women either.
Up top. Things are just
all over in between.
All over. Yeah, and that's another thing. Like the up top area. Yeah. You have
just gravity.
Yeah, you had the two babies nursing.
Right.
And each child nursed for almost 15 months.
Yeah, wow.
So that's a lot of babies. It's a lot of milk coming out of these things.
No, but even, so Evans, actually today is his graduation from the Customs Academy. Congratulations.
Right. Congratulations.
So
awesome.
proud of you.
That's wonderful.
He actually probably just got done with it, but my husband went through a 4.5 month long academy, law enforcement academy, and this is his, counting the military, this is his third academy that he's been through, and now doing it at 37 years old, it's a lot different than when you were 20 years old or 30 years old, you're getting closer to 40, your body responds a lot differently to a lot of intense physical activity and, being in class all day and then having to maintain your physical fitness. So I think everyone just as we get older has to be mindful of how their body is responding to things, because it's sad, but your body needs to be taken care of in different ways as you get older.
Yes, and as you get older, there's back injuries, there's shoulder injuries, there's children, you had children,
right. Or you have a medical issue.
Or you have a medical issue. Yep.
Your body chemistry changes. There's a lot of different things that can be going on. So
it's okay. It's okay to feel.
It's not a matter of pride. Although we all.
It is hard.
It is our matter.
It is hard to kind of suck it up.
Yeah.
But it's okay that everyone, you have to understand that everyone, we all go through things. Like someone is going through something with their health situation. I guess to call it. But now, do you, sis, want to go into? We talked about a little bit about how you're dealing now with being disabled, and then we'll wrap it up and we'll kind of talk about how we, have fit in. Well, let me just
with our different daily routines and stuff. Yeah, absolutely. So again, for anyone who doesn't know me personally, I after doing student athletics, I went to law school, and at that point my vision started changing a lot because of my diabetes. I have a condition called diabetic retinopathy where the blood vessels in my eyes leak and put me at danger of going blind, and actually both my eyes have hemorrhaged. So I've had like 24 laser surgeries.
There's a lot of positive stuff going on right here.
It's a rockin' good episode. But no, I mean, it's just the realities of life. So,
and it's important. I think it's important to share both of our stories, because there's a lot of diabetics out there that are probably feeling like you, like, oh man, I have all this, going on with my health. And then there's moms out there too thinking like, oh, my boobs are sagging and my private isn't as tight as it used to be. Or like things are going on, I'm peeing myself.
You feel like you might be the only one going on.
Right, and I had this poochy pooch that's not going away with all the, dieting or whatever. It's not really called diets now, but with all the, nutrition you're trying to do. So
so I mean,
go ahead, sorry.
No, it's all right. So with that, I had like 24 laser eye surgeries, and then I had surgeries to surgically remove the blood when they hemorrhaged, and then like a whole bunch of stuff. So with that, and with being at risk of going blind, the increased eye pressure is a very bad thing for me.
So you wouldn't be able to power lift, is
exactly.
that? Okay.
So starting in law school, when I started having all these problems with the diabetic retinopathy and all the surgeries, my ophthalmologist told me that I shouldn't be powerlifting anymore. Okay. And that was a blow, because I really, really loved cleaning. I like to clean in the domestic sense, but cleaning in the power lift sense, squats,
a little bit of snatch,
little snatch. I've never been a big fan of the snatch, but I'll do it from time to time.
Nice.
Thank you. I'm here all week. No, I mean, I loved lifting because it made me feel strong and powerful, and I just felt like I got a really good workout, and I felt my body respond to it. So, which I know that you have felt as well, sis.
Oh yeah.
For me, I really loved it. Please give me.
It's my favorite.
Give me weightlifting.
I love powerlifting.
Yeah, give me that over a 2-mile run any day.
Oh man,
please. Nope. Maybe even a mile run.
Right.
And but it was just, I really enjoyed it, and I was a little later on in life trying to teach one of my little cousins how to lift because she started doing throwing. So it was really something that I loved doing. And I was told I couldn't do it. And then now, especially nowadays, with my spinal cord being retethered by that tumor that I had mostly removed when I was 4, and that has been pulling on my cord again for the last couple of years. It's another thing that they've told me I can never again lift.
Right.
And that was a huge,
So what can you
huge
do?
blow. Well, so up until a couple of years ago when my cord started tethering again, I was doing a lot more aerobic activity.
Like hiking. You said you did a lot of hiking.
I was doing hiking. Evans and I would go on walks in the nighttime in Texas when it got a little less obscenely hot.
Right.
I used to love rollerblading. Biking, I would do yoga. I would do a lot of those things. And so then there came to a point, and I love doing core strength, especially... it was a little tough when I was running my law practice.
Well, you did a lot of videos. That was your thing. You did a lot of, you like to do a lot of dance videos, and they have those, what was it called? The core,
yes,
Billy Blanks, Let Me
Billy
Dance.
Blanks,
Dance your butt off.
Oh my
or
gosh,
something.
what was that? Tybo? Wasn't it Tybo?
Yes, but there was a dance thing too. You really,
Oh
you did a
yeah,
lot
there
of.
was
I don't know what
rock
it's called.
hard abs or something.
right.
Yes.
So you
and I
liked-
did Insanity as well. I enjoyed
Right.
that.
Yeah, that was cool.
So I was doing a lot of that stuff until my cord retethered, and then for the last couple of years, I've pretty much been bedridden. So
Right.
now I've had to focus again. I've had to adjust again, and so now it's a matter of, man, I need to actually do some deep stretching to make sure that my muscles don't start to atrophy.
Right.
And I need to make sure that my circulation is going so that,
Now, do you have like a stretch routine?
I do.
that what
I
you're-
do.
okay.
And thankfully for being my BFF for so long, you know that I've been desperately seeking aerobic activity for so long now that you brought it up to me a few weeks ago of
right.
getting that bike pedal. It's like a floor pedal.
Yep. And you can use it for your arms as well.
Yes.
Like say if you, and I bought one too because I think it's good when you're just in, what do? You're at home.
Right.
Sit on
So I can't sit for that long of a period of time, but I've been trying to, whenever my back feels okay enough, I can isolate just my lower body and just move the pedals so that I'm getting a little circulation, my heart rate's going up a little bit, and I'm doing more than just essentially bed yoga.
Right.
To get some activity going on, because it's been going from being a student athlete to being bedridden has been like
Right. And now,
a huge blow.
we were gonna get into it at the total end, but since we're on the topic, I think it'd be good to kind of talk about it a little bit because you're going to be having surgery.
Yep.
And so, and then
I know, in
I don't
like
know
a
how
week and a half. Woof.
Right. And then what will you be able to do then?
Well, so we don't know yet.
you wanna go into
so we will be away from doing the podcast for a little bit until we find out how I respond to the surgery. So in a week and a half on the 27th.
Please pray.
Thank you. Yes,
For Kate.
all positive thoughts and
Yes.
energies,
Yep.
much appreciated. But a neurosurgeon in Rhode Island, who is very well skilled and accomplished, is going to try and go back onto my spine
At the end of the month.
at the end of this month. And unfortunately, they have to saw off part of my vertebrae
Right.
to be able to gain access to the spinal cord. But they're going to try and take away the most of the rest of the tumor that's on my spinal cord, and to try and release some of that pressure that it's tugging on the cord. So basically right now I'm at risk of being paralyzed. So as I was when I was 4. So we don't know how my body's going to respond to it. Hopefully it's at least going to stop the progression of the degenerative disease. I am hoping that the amount of pain that I feel on a day-to-day basis will lighten at least a little bit, but things like my bowel and urinary functions, which have both been weakened because of this retethering of the cord, they might not get any better, but we just have to wait and see. But so afterwards, I'm going to be in the hospital for a few days, letting my spine and my vertebrae start to heal, and then I'll start a period of pretty intense physical therapy.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
You'll probably be under, not under. You'll probably under a physical therapist.
Whoa, hey, Evans, you can now mute. Yeah, right. You can now mute this podcast or change the channel if you so inclined.
What would it be? Under the care of
or supervision of or instruction of
a physical
qualified physical therapist. So so when I had this surgery when I was 4, it took like a week and a half of being in the hospital of learning how to walk again.
So we'll see. Hopefully it goes.
Here's hoping, but my idea of what my nutrition and fitness levels will be at that point will have to, I'm sure, be recalibrated once again.
Right.
But again, it's all a matter of life and dealing with whatever comes your way.
Yeah, and they talk a lot about, I know I read a lot of like mom blogs and such, and they talk a lot about seasons. So, for instance, you're going through this season, you want to call it, and getting back into life, and I'm in the season of the children being toddlers, so it's really hard, like you said, you have to kind of every now and then recalibrate, which is good, your nutrition and your exercise plan,
and maybe even your expectations as well.
That's fantastic, and I think that's great, expectations.
Yeah, because I think that's what's been frustrating for both of us, not being able to do the 3 or 4 hours of practice a day, or for you, like working out at least like 8 hours a day.
Oh yeah,
like putting people through workouts. Or your body responding to a certain level of fitness or nutrition.
And that's what we kind of talked about in the beginning. That it's okay to not be perfect and to try to just sneak in 5 minutes. Like 5 minutes is better than no minutes.
Right. So so what are you doing now? Because like you mentioned, I've always been one who is cool with doing tapes at home. Like I've done DVDs, I've done fitness DVDs. I think actually Netflix used to have.
I'm glad you talked about that.
Used to have exercise programs on it. I'm not sure that it does anymore. But I think Amazon, if you have like Amazon Prime, you can do some exercise programs. But I've always like. There used to be on the Oxygen channel.
And they have that beach. Like, so when after I had Evelyn, I tried that beach body. Yeah, and that they have that on, like, demand now. So that's similar to what you were talking about. That just didn't work for me. I can't do exercise videos at home. I've even tried to work out. Like, I know how to make up workouts at home.
That's your profession.
And at home I could do it. I can totally do it. It just doesn't work for me. I just don't like it. So every now and then I'll do waiting for the coffee to brew. I'll do some squats, and every morning I try to do something. Like I'll do jumping jacks. But usually my schedule now is Tuesday, Thursdays, and Saturday mornings. I go to the gym. Before I was doing CrossFit, and then I realized I can't really do CrossFit because I have this abdominal separation that I need to fix. And then I was like, well, I'm going to do power yoga, which was great. It was working awesome, but it was not fixing my issue that I was having. So now I'm back at like the YMCA and I'm doing my own thing, following this program, and I add my own stuff in. But I usually I will leave at 5:40.
Okay.
And then I get back home around 7.
Okay. So not a ton of time, but still, if there are some people, I was certainly one of them out there. When I was running my own practice, I felt like I didn't even have enough time for a couple hours of sleep a night, never mind getting in a workout. But had I done that, had I been more into self-love and self-care at that moment, I know I would have slept better. I would have had a good quality of sleep.
Yes, and that's...
I would have been able to fall asleep faster. My metabolism would have revved up a little bit.
Great point, yes.
I would have felt those serotonin levels, felt a little more feelings of happiness. So there would have been those things that would have kind of been worth the sacrifice of a workout. But I didn't even have to go for like a 3-4 hour workout every day. I could have done what I did, studying for the bar. I had one of those foot pedal things, and I would read up on my books and then be pedaling underneath the table while I studied. So there are always programs that you can do and exercises you can do to fit into any kind of lifestyle or time constraints. But you have to do what works for you.
Right. And I think it's personally, it was finding the motivation. Like,
Right.
what is they talk about what is your why? Like, why
Okay.
are you doing this? And so mine is, why am I trying to lead a healthy lifestyle?
That's a great, I think it's a great question for everyone to answer.
Right. And mine is, for my girls. I want to show them that women, we can be strong and we can, try anything. Like,
Absolutely.
your body is capable of a lot of awesome things.
Right.
And it's great to be, you want to be healthy woman. And then also it's my profession. So I want to be, and for my girls, I want to be an example for other women and people, and my children and my family, my brothers. I want them to see, like, it's not, don't count me out of the game just because I had 2 humongous babies and my abs don't want to come back together and I pee my pants sometimes. Like, don't count me out.
I don't think anyone that knows you would actually legitimately count you out. But no, I totally...
But you still want to be, like, I guess, in the game of life. You just don't want to roll over and be like, well, that's it. And especially for you, sis, like, you, like, physically cannot really do much of anything.
Right.
So even just, like, kind of getting up, walking and stretching, that's a huge thing for you. Like, for some people, you're like, oh, I do that every day. I get up, I kind of stretch out of bed. But for you, that's, like, your...
Exercise.
Yeah, that's your exercise.
I know. It was... I had to go...
and that's okay.
Yeah. I had to go for pre-admission testing and blood work the other day to prepare for the surgery, and the nurse was asking me, like, oh, well, do you get up and walk around the house? And I was like, define walk around the house. Like, can I walk from my bed to the kitchen to eat twice a day and then go back to bed? Yes. But do I do laps around the house? No.
Right.
So yeah, it was, and I look, I don't think I've ever kept really any part of my life that secret, and maybe I should have more shame, but I
have no shame in your game, girl.
There ain't no shame in my game, absolutely not. But I have adjustment disorder and some depression from having to adjust to these disabilities and to go from being such an independent headstrong person to being so physically incapacitated by my medical issues. So it's been a real blow to my ego to not be able to do those workouts. And for me, it wasn't just, I have a stepson whom I love and adore, but I don't have any children of my own to, like, be an example for. But for me, exercise, in addition to keeping my health in as good of a condition as possible, was that I actually feel good when I exercise. So exercising is fun for me, but I'm not delusional in thinking that everyone loves working out. And
some people really dislike it.
Really dislike it.
Like, for instance, I really dislike cooking. And some people really...
Oh, I love it. I love it.
And I do not like it. And then so it's sometimes it's hard to see how others, feel. You're like, oh, like, how are you how are you so excited about doing this when I hate it? But then you have to think about, like, things that you dislike, other people like. So just think of it that way. Like, well, I really dislike exercise, but I love to cook. Right. And then some people...
Like, you love to clean. Like, it makes you feel good. And
it does.
For others...
They're like, why am I so crazy?
It's the bane of their existence. Right. So, but I think in everyone's life, in any kind of way, in any kind of capacity, you have to make exercise a priority because of how important it is. It's
in nutrition. I think the main point of all of this that we're trying to just put out there and even like tell ourselves that, you know, you want to love the body that you're in.
Absolutely.
So with that, you want to take care of your body.
Yes.
You know, even, you know, you want to love your body even with, you know, your failing health.
Right.
Especially, you know, with you, sis, with your diabetes, like it must be so hard to be like, oh, I just love my body.
Oh, yeah.
It's doing such
more
wonderful,
than one reason.
Right. But you have to think of the things it's done. Like for me, you know, I was able, you know, not putting it all out there, but I was able to have, you know, it gave me.
You brought forth life.
Yeah, it gave me life. I was able to have babies. I was able to get an education from a Division I school because of athletics. I was not going on my grades, and I'm putting it out there. Like sis was like totally going with her grades, like probably to Brown, you know. But and then I was able to serve others, and you know,
serve our country.
Yeah, that's what. Yes, serve our country. So those are things I was able to do.
Thank you to your body.
Right, and you, sis, you were able to do so many things. Like you have to. You know?
Yeah, I've been working on at least respecting it. If I don't love it, I at least have a healthy respect for my body.
Right. And with, like, I know with high school for sure, like, you were able to be such a role model for so many women and, you know, especially women out there that have diabetes who are, like, probably so defeated thinking that their body will not allow them to do certain things. But look at all the things you were able to do. And even, like, your body and mind. You went to law school. You've helped so many people. You know, you're able to do that with your body.
Yeah, and
your mind. You're just, you know, you have a really big, humongous mind. So that really helped. So what you didn't have with what your body was not allowing you to do, your mind kind of kicked in and helped out.
Well, I like big brains, and I cannot lie. It had to balance. Something had to balance my ass out. So you know, I had to get a big head. No, I mean, to just wrap it up. Sorry, just to no, but you do. I think it's important for everyone, even if you don't necessarily love the shape that your body's in or the condition that it's in at any given time. And
it's so easy to say. Like, we're not saying, I just love my shape. Right. You know, as we talked about the last episode about being naked and such.
Admiring your body for all the gifts that's given. But I think you do at least need to develop a healthier relationship, especially for females, but also as men. I think we all just need to do a little better job of respecting the body that we've been given, because unfortunately, we don't get another one. We can't do a trade-in as much as I would like to. You can't. So you have to respect the vessel that your soul and your mind is in and treat it with respect and with love and with caring. So even if you hate doing exercise or fitness, I think there are a lot of creative, fun ways. And again, let's say one more time for the back seats, for the cheap seats, do always consult your healthcare professional before you engage in any kind of activity. But there are a lot of creative ways. Like, you can go for a walk with your neighbor to catch up. Say you don't have a lot of time to catch up with a friend. You know, you decide you and your kids or you and your pets, you know, go for a walk on the bike trail. Right.
You could walk, you could bike, you could rollerblade, you could, you know, do body weight stuff. You could do body weight squats. You could do push-ups. You could do some, you know, light crunches, actually, technically, aren't the best thing. You can do planks. You can do some, planks.
Just countless things.
Right.
Look, but for anyone who watched our Facebook Live video last week or last podcast episode, you might have noticed that we enjoy to partake in the art of the dance. We might not be especially talented in that field, but we love it. We have a passion for it. So being up in the club, you can do that in your house and get your cardio going without embarrassing yourself in front of any potential suitors and jam out in your jammies to your favorite jam session.
So to wrap it up,
we're going
to wrap it up. we hope that this found you to, enforce the message we're trying to get out there is just to love yourself and to love the body that you're in. And we hope that our experiences and what we have talked about has maybe helped you or, made you laugh.
Yeah, or maybe even made you feel a little less alone in any particular struggle that you might be going through. Because believe us, we've been through some struggles.
Right,
So.
and I think it helps us to talk about what we have been through, for ourselves. Like, because we still, like, as you said, we still struggle with a lot of issues we have with body image and, getting the right, nutrition.
Going into different seasons.
Right, going into different seasons in life, getting the right exercise plan, nutrition plan for us. So.
Right. So what would be great is if you have a question,
Great, yep.
feel free to contact us. You can either email us. It's hammertime with Nikki and Kate, and that's NIKKI at gmail.com, or hammertimewithnickyandkate.com for our website. You can send in a response there. You can follow us or like us on Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, Google+.
And again, we're on iTunes and Google Play.
And also on YouTube. But just reach out and let us know, like, hey, I didn't even realize that I needed to be checked for diastasis recti. I just thought I had a mom pooch. Or, hey, guys, I hated working out, but I tried X, Y, and Z over the weekend. It was the time of my life. Right. So I think not only would we love to hear from you, but I think everyone else who follows us and who listens to us would also love to hear your stories. And so please don't be shy. If you want to contact us under the guise of anonymity, you feel free to do so. We're not going to put you on blast, but we'd love to hear from you in any way, shape, or form. And once again, please note that we might be off for a little bit depending on how my surgery goes. But we do hope that you will continue to listen and continue to give us feedback, as well as maybe some suggestions for any episodes or subjects that you would like to hear us cover. And we want you to be happy and healthy and fit.
Live a fit life.
Yeah.
With purpose.
And self-care and self-love. So we do appreciate that you've given us a listen once again. And
we know your time is valuable.
Yes. So thank you. And we are going to let Big Sean
be out.
Take us out.
Be out. Peace out.
Audi 5000.
Go stupid.